Hello, friends, and welcome to the most glorious of events, the Movie Mavericks podcast. This outstanding program is hosted by two fine gentlemen, Jason and Trevor. Now make it so.
MovieMavericks.com.
Hey, now everybody, welcome to episode 401 of the Movie Mavericks podcast. I'm Trevor Anderson, send you over to Jason Rugard. He's got a rundown for us.
On tonight's episode, we are going to be talking about the biggest hit of the year so far, at least in the live-action world, that is, and that's Deadpool versus Wolverine, the Marvel juggernaut. We'll be talking about that, as well as one of the bigger disappointments of the summer, and that is Furiosa, Mad Max. The saga continues with that, and the Netflix big hit, the Mark Wahlberg, Halle Berry teaming up for The Union. Also got trailers tonight, going to talk about the Y2K movie from Kyle Mooney, and The Wolves from Brad Pitt and George Clooney, directed by John Watts of Spider-Man fame. So sit back and enjoy the show, but first, let's do a little bit of trivia. What do you got for me tonight?
Every character in the beauty queen comedy Miss Congeniality has the same rune number. What is this? I don't even remember that. Is that true?
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, I saw that movie about 25 years ago.
301, 103, 102, or 201? Oh, God. I haven't seen this movie in
25
forever.
years. I'm going to say 102.
Yeah?
Fucking A.
Oh, no, wait. No, I hit the wrong.
Oh,
I hit the wrong.
son of a
letter.
bitch.
It was 103.
I was off
Sorry.
by a digit always. How dare you?
I have no idea
cock-tease me
why,
like that.
though. Now I don't know why. Why is that?
The intricacies of that Sandra Bullock romantic comedy will remain a mystery.
I'll have to watch it again now.
Rewatched The Proposal recently, and
I like The Proposal.
it's not nearly as funny as I thought it was. It's Ryan Reynolds light, particularly compared to the Deadpool character, obviously, where he's just motor mouth, but
I mean, sorry, it's just a romantic comedy. I don't know what you expected out of it.
I guess I had watched some other movies recently, and I went back and watched a couple Adam Sandler movies, and I'll tell you what, Grown Ups 2 was highly underrated. I actually think Grown Ups 2 is way funnier than I remembered it to be. And I watched some of the more obscure Adam Sandler ones, or ones that I hadn't remembered quite so well, like Sandy Wexler. All right, what else you got?
All right. PFC Edward Garlic is Adrian Cronauer's sidekick
Use your vowels.
of sorts
Let's start
in Barry Levinson's Good Morning Vietnam.
You fucked me up with
What
that.
is Edward Garlic's middle name?
Who the fuck is Edward Garlic again?
PFC.
Private Charlie?
Private fucking Charlie.
You going to Panda Express? I mean, I thought you were going to P.F. Chang's. What's going on here?
So what's his middle name?
What's the options?
Bellamondo? The fuck? Tiberius? Moresque? Oh, Montesquieu? Is that what that is? Fuck. Petty. Oh, it's been forever since I've seen Good Morning Vietnam, so I have no idea.
I'm going to go with Tiberius.
You're going to go with Tiberius? You're not going to go with Petty?
No, I'm
Or
going to go
Percy?
with
God, I can't read.
with
I need my
Tiberius, just like
glasses.
James T. Kirk.
Just like James T. Kirk. No. It was Montesquieu. Is that the fuck how you say this? Montesque?
I mean, I feel like I should get a mulligan on this because this one's been fucked from the
Montesquieu?
jump.
What is that?
We're having problems with phonetics here between the both of us in this one. Let's scratch this one from the record, Your Honor. Let's get a fresh number 2. Fuck that movie. I never liked Good Morning America.
Fresh
to be
number
honest with
2 coming up. That is all right. The Godfather Part 3 has the dubious distinction of being the only installment of the Godfather trilogy that is not considered a classic, having, unlike the first 2 films, not won an Oscar for Best Picture. In fairness, it's likely that Part 2 would not have seemed to fall so short if it had not been preceded by a film frequently cited as the greatest sequel ever made. Screenwriter-director Francis Ford Coppola substantiated fans' claims that the third installment was unnecessary, conceding that he'd already fully told the story he'd intended to tell, and admitted that the film was made only because he was experiencing financial trouble at the time. Add the questionable casting of Coppola's daughter Sophia and the absence of Robert Duvall, and you've got problems. What excuse is given for the absence of Duvall's character, Tom Hagen? He's away on business. He's in the witness protection program. He's in prison, or he's dead.
I think he's dead.
You think he's dead?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Yeah.
It's an offhand remark that they make, and that was because Duvall wanted as much money as Pacino to come back, and they just wrote him out of the script. That just goes to show you how misguided that movie is. Although, to be fair,
he didn't make him an offer they couldn't refuse.
It's basically what he said. And The Godfather 3 was still nominated for Best Picture, which is, before The Lord of the Rings, one of the rare feats where a trilogy of all three films, I mean, two of them won Best Picture, but all three were nominated for Best Picture. But ironically, it was up against... If it was
Lord of the Rings, only the third one would have won.
Right, and that was more of the gimme for the whole trilogy, whereas, this, I feel like the Oscar nomination for Best Picture was a thank you for doing this. It was, But then again, you have Goodfellas released the same year, which is an infinitely better film, also nominated for Best Picture, and they both lose to Dances with Wolves, which is the Best Picture winner of that year. Yeah, all three of those are fantastic. What a great year for movies. All right, let's talk a little bit about movies here before we just get into reviews, because there are some things going on. We were just talking about Godfather 3, Coppola's movie here. He's got Megalopolis on coming on deck, and went through an embarrassing bout with its marketing firm, and now everyone's pointing the finger, where they used AI-generated, what turned out to be false, critic reviews, blurbs from initial hateful reviews of The Godfather.
Is that how they got them like that?
That's what they said, that the AI generated them. But these are critics that are no longer with us. Janet
that
Maslin.
means they asked the AI, what are some, what are some quotes that have been said about this? And the AI, I guess, made up some quotes. I guess that's what they're saying.
Is this how we figure out that AI is sent it? I mean, that they're making up fucking false Janet Maslin quotes for Coppola's film? Because this is, obviously, I get what they were trying to say here is don't listen to the harsh critics, that his movies are always misunderstood when they come out. Right. You could have just had a voiceover. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne is doing the narration here. It's the Apocalypse Now connection. You could have just had him basically say that. You didn't need to do this, all of this. I mean, how many wrong steps can this movie take before it's released? And is it a concerted effort?
Who's releasing this?
Well, is it Lionsgate coming out with it? I mean, I'm not sure who the fuck's dropping this thing, but it's coming out September 27th. Yeah.
I mean, doesn't that make a lot more sense to you now?
Look, I can't hate Lionsgate for what they've done recently with Borderlands and The Crow, just because I would normally blame it on their marketing, but I feel like they marketed the shit out of Borderlands, but they knew what they had, which was a feathered fish. And then I
don't think they marketed Borderlands hardly at all.
I saw
Where'd
trailers.
Where'd you see a lot of marketing?
I saw trailers all summer long for it. I saw massive banners. I mean, I don't know what else is really. I don't know what other kind of marketing they do any longer. But in theater, I saw a lot of signage. I saw a lot of cardboard cutouts. I saw trailers for it since fucking February.
I mean, I know a lot of people that didn't know that movie was coming out.
Well, even when they found out it was out, they didn't rush out to go see it because it absolutely collapsed.
It looks terrible.
And it's still going to make twice as much as The Crow did, which was absolutely just... People... What is obvious to me is that people decided, much like myself and you, that we were not interested in these films months ago. So it wouldn't have mattered how much marketing they put into it. We had already decided that we were not going to check out these movies, and that was the majority of America as well.
But that's not good, right? That means that they knew ahead of time too. They made a bunch of bombs, right, and knew about it, and still really I don't know how you fix that problem, other than you need new executives. But I don't know. The Crow, Coraline re-release in its second weekend, right, beat The Crow.
Unbelievable.
That's insane.
I mean, on Borderlands opening weekend, I think Twister beat it, and that was like in its sixth week.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable how poorly these are doing. But, and this is something we can get into later in our review section, to me, Borderlands at least, and I haven't seen it, so I could be very wrong, but from what the trailers were showing me was that not only was it like a girl boss movie, it was like a granny boss movie. It looked like Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis were running things there. And... been there, done that. And maybe when the film was greenlit back in 2021, when there was a slew of this kind of stuff going on with Black Panther and Thor, these franchises being led by the girl boss, that this seemed like a fresh idea, but now it just seems old hat again and too little too late, right?
I don't know on what level you would ever look at this and say this was good, right? And Eli Roth directed it. So, I mean, I'm confounded really at how you would make either The Crow or Borderlands, right? The pitch seems so easy, and then it seems like they did no work after the pitch. They just laid out a real simple theme, like idea of what the thing was going to be, and then they just kind of made it.
Well, The Crow, they kept trying, starting and stopping. We said a little bit of this off air. We were discussing the outline here, but I love The Crow. It holds, like everybody. The Crow isn't just a movie. It's an odd memorial. Do you know what I mean? There's a certain weight to it. It's not just a superhero movie. I don't even count The Crow as like a Batman-esque movie or something like that. It's just its own thing. And I didn't hate City of Angels when it came out because it didn't have Brandon Lee. I actually liked Salvation, the second sequel that went straight to video. I didn't care for the Edward Furlong one, the Wicked Prayer. But, I'm not so... And I actually liked the Mark Dacascos show for what it was, The Stairway to Heaven. So I'm not so beholden to the character that I can never envision someone else in it. But when you're telling me that this is taking the original and you're going to redo it and you're going to put this money into it, and it looks like this, performs like this, and turns everybody off. And are we going to just admit that Bill Skarsgård is not a leading man? As much as I like the guy and I think he's a talented actor, and in small doses, he's very, very menacing, but he's not carrying a movie. Boy Meets World, or Boy Kills World just tanked. The Crow obviously is tanking.
I don't know what that is.
That martial arts movie that came out earlier this year and made even less than The Crow on its opening weekend. Oh, well, yeah, see, there you go.
Don't know. Yeah, it's just it's bad filmmaking, They don't really have a way out of this. You can look at Blade. Boy, am I glad they didn't start shooting Blade at any point, because it would have turned out exactly like this. They have no one that gives a shit about this stuff, They have plenty of directors and good directors, but those directors should be doing other things. They should be doing things that they care about, maybe. I don't know. Oh, obviously they are. Eli Roth, just up and left this fucking piece of shit. And here's the other thing that's surprising today more than ever is the fearlessness in how people involved in movies will talk shit about movies on the fucking red carpet. That's how bad it's gotten, right? Where they agree with everyone. That's movie shit. I remember Battleship when it came out. They circled the wagons on that thing, right? They said, no, it's a great movie and we're not going to talk shit about it. And took them 6 months, a year at least, before they started admitting that it was a piece of shit. Usually does.
Even John Carter that same year, same
now.
Summer, they did the same thing. But it usually was, it wasn't polite to knock your project. And when a star did it, you knew to stay away from it. When Eddie Murphy talked shit about Pluto Nash,
polite, but
it affected it greatly. But now it seems to be the norm, where if there's pushback or criticism, it's, we're the worst. This movie is the worst. We should have never made it.
But they probably agree with it. Yeah, so why did you do it? Well, it's all money, right? Money is being pushed. So this is all executive level bullshit, right? Where people are, here's the check, do the work. And so they're doing it.
It's very sad. Let's move on and talk about Ridley Scott real briefly here, because I just read a quote that he thinks that Gladiator 2 is the best film he's ever done. Now, I don't know if that is because...
Does he watch movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Schwarzenegger, I swear to God, isn't that not just a Schwarzenegger quote? Like, just straight from the mouth of any Terminator movie he's ever seen.
I know, but hold on.
Him in it.
We just got done beating up today's stars for knocking their product. You can't beat up on Arnold for overselling his product. When this is the most fantastic film that's ever been put on celluloid, you have got to see the movie even this summer.
I absolutely can. Anytime, look, if you make a bad movie, you should just admit it. Don't try to lie to me about it. And don't tell me it's the best thing you've ever seen, because it's bullshit. That's never true.
I'm only mad at myself that I believed him for 4 of these fucking Terminator reboots in a row, and I haven't made a good one of those since 2003. This is why I'm not seeing Alien Romulus. I'm sure it's solid, but I have paid for more Alien movies I didn't like now than ones that I did like. And honestly, I haven't really liked an Alien movie since 1992. When I saw Alien 3. So, and that was a fucking, debacle at the time, because, my fucking buddies and I, we loved Aliens. We watched it on repeat, the Space Marines, and Alien 3 was such a departure. Although, what I remembered one of my friends saying, and it was kind of an astute observation from a guy that didn't have any sort of film knowledge. we came out of that movie, and he said, yeah, but, it had alien vision. And he was right. It was the first time that they showed the aliens' point of view, running down the hallways after people and things like that. And I thought, yeah, that's interesting because they've used that now in almost all of these movies since. But Alien 3 with Fincher was the first one to do that. So
they just stole it from Predator. Come on.
Well, yeah, they're all derivative of each other, right? It's all, Jaws meets Alien meets Predator to all, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I mean, yeah, the Alien movies definitely, as a franchise, have just kicked a dead horse, right? But I enjoy them still. I like all of them, but yeah, no one seems to be able to get anything right unless, Vin Diesel maybe needs to be involved in more franchises. I don't know how you fix this.
You need a strong producer like Vin Diesel to just come in and throw a monkey wrench into things.
You need family, man. You need family.
It is all about family.
I don't know. Well, why is Fast and Furious like the only franchise that I care about now? How could that be true?
I would have thought you were crazy a couple summers ago because I would have said, oh, there's Mission Impossible and, there's this and that. And they've all just steadily bored me to the point where I'm like, I'm only really looking forward to that next Fast and Furious movie in terms of big summer franchises. Because Indiana Jones got run into the ground. I mean, they've just toppled over a lot of them.
These. I mean, I'd say Bad Boys is okay still, but it's just okay. Like, I'm not really super psyched for like a fifth. Good Jesus. A fifth installment, but I would be fine with it.
I said this on our podcast when we dissected it that I think it's a very good fourth installment, but if that was the first one in the series, I think that they wouldn't have a series. That's where we were starting at.
It's just a franchise installment. It's like it's just a normal franchise. Here it is, but at least it's not bad. And I'll say that because that's weird to say that because, good Lord, have a lot of franchises, including Bond. Like a lot of franchises have turned into some pretty terrible movies.
Well, there's too much overarching storyline. It's where we used to have an entry, like you just said, like Lethal Weapon 4 was an entry in that series. And yeah, it continued on with characters from the previous, but it wasn't, you didn't have to see all four for that one to hit. If you did, and you saw the end credits when they were showing the families, it was a little extra special, but it wasn't required viewing, where now everything seems to require me to do homework before I see it.
Yeah, it's so weird. I remember in the mid-2000s, there was a revolt against long story arcs, especially on television shows, because they had so many shows with long story arcs. Thank you, Joss Whedon, right? And they couldn't hold any people, and you couldn't bring any new people into the fold. Like if you were 2 or 3 seasons down the line, it was too hard to get anyone interested in the show, and a lot of shows got canceled. It lasted 3 or 4 seasons, maybe. And there was a big revolt. They wanted more episodic stuff. And now it feels like we've completely reversed, thanks to Marvel, completely reversed that. Now everyone wants to do like some long arc storyline that goes across multiple things. And Lord of the Rings too, I guess. Thank you to that.
It's unbelievable.
Harry Potter.
The difference here. I mean, Harry Potter, especially with the long form arc. I mean, that's...
So thank you to all you guys for telling everyone that stuff sells, because I'm tired of it. Well, I've never cared about universes enough.
I think Scott's just trying to sell his film here because after The Last Duel underperforming and Napoleon underperforming,
so good though. Which guys, we haven't seen Last Duel.
Check it out.
Fucking great.
Honestly, Damon, Driver, Affleck, all fantastic in that movie. Really underrated movie, and for a 2.5-hour medieval movie, flies by as well, which I know is a tough pill to swallow, especially when you read the synopsis.
And it's more dramatic than it is action.
And you wouldn't think you'd be that caught up in the storyline, and then by the end, you can't tell if Matt Damon's character is this hero or this.
Oh yeah,
wuss.
It's interesting because it's told through 3 different viewpoints, right?
Correct. Yeah. So everybody's.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
Everybody's character changes, and their function in the story is fluid as it's moving through people's retelling of it. It's very, very good.
So great movie, but I don't think that Gladiator 2 is going to even compare to that, to be honest with you. I
just think that he's saying this because he's trying. I mean, this is going to be a massive success, regardless. The opening
he's kissing studio ass. I mean, that's what he's doing.
You think he has to at 80 years old? I mean, what projects?
Yeah, hell yeah, he does. If he wants to get to, the movies he wants to make, yeah, he's got to probably kiss some ass, I mean, you're going to make Napoleon? Really? Who's going to want to? What? They're out there making like kids movies where, people, big explosions and all these types of movies, and he wants to make some like period piece.
Let me tell you how niche that ended up being. You know, we were looking at I like to go on the Fandango on opening night just to see crowdedness of certain theaters in the area, and I just looked at certain theaters on Thanksgiving weekend that are in demographics that Napoleon wouldn't appeal to. How about I say that? Like downtown Oakland, things like that. You know, it's historically not going to be appealing to see
blockbuster level era places.
Right now, and I don't mean this. You know, there's no slight here. There's nothing. I'm just saying, like when the Taylor Swift movie opened up, when the Beyonce movie opened up, these places were sold out. You know, very, very sold out. Napoleon opens up, there's 3 seats that are in there. And this is at the 7 o'clock showing of a massive auditorium that probably seats 300 on Thanksgiving weekend.
Especially in today's day and age when older people don't go to the theaters, his movies aren't going to play, right?
And for the cost of what it is, too, to go to the theaters and see
just let alone to what you're talking about, which is like obviously the younger audience, which is much older today than it was 10, 20 years ago. When he was in his, 20 plus years ago, he's in his prime, right? So, he's got to kiss ass, I think. That's why he went to Apple. That's why a lot of people have gone to Apple and made movies and been fine that, you were saying Doug Liman was fine that his movie's is going out of Apple. And I think a lot of people are fine with that because that's the only way those movies got greenlit.
Apple does do this they're in cahoots with Cinemark because I've gone to a couple of these mystery screenings. I think I've told you about this where you pay $5, they don't tell you what you're going to see.
It was like every Monday or something like that.
Right, and I went and it was the Greatest Beer Run, the Zac Efron movie, and then we went again and it was the Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell Christmas Carol musical. I can't think of what the name of it was.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Those are streaming movies if I ever.
Right, and so I've gotten wise now. So what they do is when they announce this, you can go on the date on the website and it'll tell you the rating of the movie and then the running time. And so I deduced that they're going to be showing The Wolves. So they must have, which we're going to talk about later in the show in the trailer section, but that's an Apple movie starring Brad Pitt and George Clooney. And they must have some sort of, or Cinemark has some sort of output deal with Apple to do these screenings. Because I don't know what they could possibly be getting out of it. It's not like it's going to be pre-advanced buzz for, maybe The Wolves because it is going to be a straight theatrical
Apple
play.
has to probably contractually release those movies in theaters, right?
For union regulations?
So I'm sure there's, just contractually as well. But yes, for union reasons and for, I'm sure Brad Pitt and George Clooney want that as well. So I'm sure there's a certain amount they have to hit, and they might as well just chuck it at those screenings there. Because they show regular movies during those screenings too. It's not just like streaming stuff strictly, but I've never heard anyone say that they've gone there and it's been like those Apple movies. So that's interesting.
At least it is up here.
That probably means that they're just doing it. I mean, think about it. It's got to be easy to book those screenings, right? For them.
Also, I wonder, we're not that far from Silicon Valley, where a lot of these, Apple's headquartered. So I don't.
There's another one for you.
Don't know if they're doing that because people involved in the company can come see these screenings or things like that. So always kind of wondered about that.
That's interesting, but there's never any. And Netflix, of course, owns more than one theater. I think, but they play their movies. You can go see their films in theaters as well. But they don't do that. They don't have the. I've never heard of anyone seeing a Netflix one on the Monday night secret.
No, I know somebody that went and saw The Irishman, and people that went and saw Knives Out, and I thought that.
Yeah, you can just go see them. Like they play them a lot down here in L.A. mostly. San Francisco, I guess they'd play them too. Why not? They're up there, right? That's our headquarters too.
Yep, absolutely. And then we also have in San Francisco here at the Metreon, the location used to be called the Sony Metreon, but now it's just the Metreon. It is the actual biggest IMAX screen on the West Coast, so it gets a lot of people to go there. I have a cousin who goes there almost exclusively to see all the IMAX releases, and he tells me it's overwhelming.
Well, yeah, that'd be good. Yeah,
compared to the we also have a fake one of the quote unquote IMAX ones down the street here.
Yeah, they're not even a bigger screen, really. I don't even know what they are. I wonder if for those IMAX ones, now for the fake ones, I wonder, do they just play the theatrical release? I bet they do.
Yeah, most likely. Do you remember when they were doing that too, where they were just...
Well, remember, because there's two aspect ratios, right? There's like basically a full frame aspect ratio. And then, but most of the movies they release now, almost all of them are like scope, which isn't really a thing anymore. So they're all just, cropped top and bottom off to make them look more movie-like, I guess. But isn't that weird? I find that so strange. And then everyone wants to go see the premium movie, which is the premium movie is more square than the non-premium one. It's so fucking weird to me.
I started getting turned off on the IMAX experience after when they were doing these movies that had scenes shot in IMAX, and so it would flicker into the different aspect ratio. It would absolutely take me out of the movie immediately. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it started happening.
Really? Yeah, I know.
With The Dark Knight.
I mean, Disney's done it, and Dark
Mission
Knight,
Impossible did it. With the Breach Khalifa.
I mean, they're doing mostly now. They're filming whole movies, but what you're talking about. I mean, I think Superman Returns even did that,
absolutely,
didn't it?
Yeah. Nolan was big on it in his films.
There were a bunch of them. Where they just shot a couple scenes in IMAX instead of the whole movie.
Skyfall did it, I want to say. There was, and it would turn to this aspect ratio, which was stunning. But then when you lost that, it was once again, it made me too aware of I'm back into a movie, and now it was so overwhelming to see that everything else was lesser than, and it just immediately I hated that when it's gone. And like I said, it's not as big of a problem now because like you were pointing out, everything is shot or things are shot with cameras. But even Transformers: Dark Side of the Moon had sequences like that, and. But when it was with it
was common.
The Batman movie or the Mission Impossible movies, it was taking me right out of the movie and just making me realize, okay, we're just watching a set piece now. And when the set piece is over, we can go back to, who does this still is Disney Plus, because you can watch that IMAX enhanced versions.
I know, that's why I said the Marvel movies
there you go.
Does it too. But I still don't understand it because everyone wants the fucking IMAX ones. Well, so why are we releasing theatrical releases in 235? But everyone wants the full screen. They want the whole screen filled up. Why? What's the deal?
So they're going to charge you more for the full screen.
I'm just confused. I don't get it. But then when they release it on video, everyone wants the full screen. They want that IMAX version. They don't want the theatrical version. It's fucking weird to me. And of course they do. I'm the same way. I have a whole fucking wall here. Fill my fucking wall up.
Right.
Like I paid whatever, $6 to see her. I'm cheap. I go on cheap day, but I paid for the fucking wall. Fill it up.
And I feel like they used to, and it just we're getting.
They did. That's why I liked Horizon so much because they filled it up.
Yeah, it was. That's why it felt epic as well. Epic in scope. Have you watched that again on Max? Did you dip back into it at all?
No, I don't have Max, but I'm waiting for my 4K. I'm watching that 4K. I'm watching it on disc 4K, so I get the full bit rate. I want that Costner bit rate.
He wants to see them desert plains in all their fucking glory.
I want to be able to see each blade of grass.
I fully back you, though, on that film. Let's jump into the films on tonight's show. And the first movie, let's talk about Furiosa, because this is the one that came out at the beginning of summer and was supposed to kick off Memorial Day weekend in the summer box office and underperformed. And I think I have an idea why it underperformed here. One, I didn't hate the movie. I actually rather enjoyed it. I think it's
a good movie.
Not as bad as what people were saying and what I was expecting.
Were people saying it was bad? What I heard was it was a good movie, but no one went and saw it.
I heard a couple reviews that said over long, too loud, but I don't know if that's just complaints of somebody getting older.
Huh.
Because you don't know what you're getting into for a Mad Max movie. I mean, that's what I kind of felt is that's exactly what you're getting into.
Yeah, interesting.
But what my problem, or what I think went wrong here, is that the marketing. I hate to use the term "the girl boss," but did the marketing not push the girl boss aspect of it? And that's not really what this movie is about at all.
It did, and that caught. It caught a little bit, and they got a lot of backlash for that. I think, unfortunately, but I don't even know if they did push the girl boss thing in the marketing, or if it just looks like, with the culture war and stuff. I swear things are so weird now, but I know what you mean because I felt it too, and everyone I think was worried about it, and so it was I think a sigh of relief from everybody when you actually saw this, right? And it wasn't that at all. Unfortunately, it's just a prequel that doesn't live up to the next one and is kind of pointless is the best way I can say it. It's just a pointless story. It's really told very well. It looks beautiful. The acting was great. Interesting characters. Interesting like world building and world thing, but just just doesn't even touch, the original or the sequel. I don't know what the hell.
Well, I think that Chris Hemsworth's great in this. I really enjoyed his kind of doofus renegade, who's successful despite
he
himself.
Might be the best part of the movie. They're the most interesting character.
And I thought that they should. I mean, I didn't realize he was going to be that big of a part of this movie because the Immortan Joe, while the towering villain of the piece of the second one or the last one, really wasn't that in it that much. He was just kind of present in everyone's speech and what they were worried about, and it was, he wasn't on screen that much. Whereas Hemsworth is on screen quite a bit. He makes some interesting choices with the character, with that kind of sing-song Australian thing he's doing there. He's kind of soft and feminine at some points, but very Demented. I mean, Dementis is his name, but obviously very psychologically out of it. Yeah. Really liked. This movie's awash in imagination. This is almost like when they let Guillermo del Toro just run with the ball, and some of it's hit and miss.
This is better than that, though.
To me, some of it's hit and miss, just like that. Because did this not look? And I know it takes an amazing amount of work to get this movie done in all aspects of it, but some shots, the CGI was a little too. I don't know, like for how physical everything felt and the weight of things in the last film, things felt a little cartoony in this one at times. Did it not?
Yeah, corners were cut. I really feel like if this felt like something he wanted to make, was getting to make it, but was ultimately just kind of tired, of doing it. And so this movie feels like he doesn't have the reins quite as tight as he did on
Fury Road.
Really on any of the Mad Max movies, but especially Fury Road, I guess, would be the only comparison to this.
Well, I had a friend that broke this movie down into a very, very simple, overly simplified terms, and he said, this is basically a movie about a little girl becoming a truck driver. And I said, hey, you're oversimplifying this. I mean, that's like saying that these movies are about truck convoys in general. I mean, sure. But there are some beautiful set pieces in here, particularly when she escapes the stowaway sequence of this movie. And there is some moments of dread where you don't know what's going to happen here. And I think that's because of the way that Hemsworth is playing it early on. But once again, here's my beef. For all this Anna Taylor-Joy shit that she's so great in the movie, she doesn't even come into the movie until a good hour in. And the little girl before her is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So I thought I could take her or leave her. I didn't think she was particularly great. I didn't think she was bad. She was there. Secondly, the whole sequence with the Immortan Joe who acquires the child in this deal, and she becomes part of his harem, maybe that's what this is going to. I'm not really sure because it shows that somebody can't produce an heir to his or a boy for him, and then she escapes. And when she escapes, they just kind of stop looking for her all of a sudden. I mean, she's
please go for it, but go further.
As I'm saying,
keep going.
She's so important.
This is my biggest complaint.
But then they can just lose her and it's all good and no one's looking.
She looks like a girl. No one realizes it. First of all, these guys are all minors who would fuck a rock, and they see this thing. If they even thought that was a boy, do you know how raped?
It would be like the guys in Alien 3.
Oh my God.
I had just watched Alien 3 with the prisoners. Yeah, it's the same idea. And they do try to rape Sigourney's character in the movie, which is a terrible scene, but it's totally accurate for
But it makes sense, right? This movie makes no sense throughout all that. Like, they're just all nice to her. They're just all whatever. And they even have that scene where she pees into the thing and the guy gets curious. Right. And it's like, dude, how long has she been peeing in the fucking bottle? And this is the first time anyone's been like, oh, what are you doing? I like that whole thing is just unbelievably put together. Like, I don't buy it at all that nobody knows that she's a girl. That first of all, that she's if they do think she's a guy, she's a pretty guy. So, I don't know how else to say it. They're going for it because
I know what you're saying.
But these aren't even just salt of the earth guys. These are like rough dudes, right?
Yeah, these are the scum of the earth. I mean, these are his workers.
It's just I found that unbelievable, that whole sequence thing. But it's fine because it goes through and it goes, and again, like you say, then they stop looking for her. That's why I didn't understand that either. Like, she's right the fuck there too. She's right there, and then she shows up later on, and she's right there. And then they let her drive the truck, and she's right there. And then she comes up, and then she's a part of the crew now. And then she's like part of the leadership. She's right there. What is going on?
Well,
like
there's a lot of other shit going on there.
No sense. I'm sorry.
I did like that, Dementus is losing control of his society, just like they told him that, like, we can't sustain the numbers. I did like that it seemed that there was building to something here. And Fury Road was such an ass kicker and so unexpectedly powerful in the way it was executed and shot, and just all the things about it. I mean, all the accoutrements of the film, that this just was going to be a letdown by nature. It just there's no way they were going to top that. And I think Tired is it's not lazy by any stretch of the imagination, but this is definitely a filmmaker who seems to be done with this world.
Yeah, like I said, I think the best way to describe it is he's just looser on the reins in this one than he was in Fury Road, or probably really any of the other Mad Max movies. He's just not, as someone that you've seen give like 120% for other movie, to see them only give like 95%, it's like a big drop.
Yeah, especially because he's a perfectionist.
But it's still a great movie, or a good movie. I don't know if it's a great movie, but it is a really good movie with great moments. I'll say that. I didn't really particularly think the arm losing thing was good enough, in my opinion. I thought it was kind of like, really, that's it? I thought he was going to take her arm because the map was on
right.
it. That's
what I thought too.
But that doesn't even happen. He doesn't even know the map's on it. He doesn't even
Which
care.
is also another plot thread.
I didn't understand the point of the map being on the arm then.
But it does have a fairy tale-esque quality, the first hour particularly, where she just is kind of bumbling along and narrowly escaping, and that being present in these moments that are changing history. And I did like that opening sequence where she is kidnapped and the lady goes after her and is sniping. And
on the motorcycles and stuff. Yeah, that was really good. I know the whole movie's really good. Like George Miller can definitely take just a simple scene and make it interesting to watch.
Yeah, he makes something out of nothing for most cases. It just was the over-reliance on CG made it a little too cartoony. And I know we're talking about a wasteland movie, so they're not looking for realism, but there was a certain tactile quality to the last few that made it just, there was a weight to the cars, to the things. And this one was starting to go into Fast and Furious territory a few times.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, let's move on and talk about the biggest hit of the year for live action outside of Inside Out 2, which is just a fucking phenomenon right now. But we're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, Disney's other blockbuster of the summer, and a movie that we knew was going to do very well, but we did not think it was going to be amongst the top moneymakers of all time. As we record this, it's approaching, I think it's $570 million at the U.S. domestic box office. Yeah. Which is just freaking insane. I mean, this movie has reached the zeitgeist to the point where my uncle, 65 years old, took my aunt to see it, and he loved it. Laughing his ass off. Loves Deadpool movies, he told me. Cracks him up.
Oh, well, then he definitely should have gone and seen it.
My aunt has been a Hugh Jackman fucking fanatic since back in the day. If anybody likes Hugh Jackman, my aunt called this Hugh Jackman phenomenon back in like 99 or 2000. I'm telling you. Kate and Leopold days, she told me about Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Kate and Leopold.
I'm sure she wasn't a hard sell to take to this movie, but when my uncle tells me he's seen it,
he looks better than Meg Ryan. So.
When my uncle tells me he's seen it, though, like I said, I know it's hit the zeitgeist in a way that most of these movies don't. And I've seen it, you've seen it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was great. I think one of the best things they did with this was that they didn't make it reliant on other Marvel stuff, even though that stuff's worked into it. You don't have to have seen Loki or any of the other shows or anything to get it. They explain everything again to you, and so the movie makes sense. My only complaint here is that I don't like the way that they reset everything with his girlfriend and his friends, and they're barely in the movie. They're like they're just like a reason for him to I guess go on this a voyage, but it loses the heart that the other two had, and really the emotion that those had, especially like the second one where his girlfriend dies, and he goes to see her in the afterlife and all that kind of stuff, and that's just completely void in this. And that's really honestly my only complaint. I thought it was funny. I thought the action was really good. I liked all the pop-ups from all the other characters. Obviously, I mean, the Blade the moment that the music hits and Wesley Snipes walks into frame, just thinking about it, goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, do I want another Blade movie with Wesley Snipes so bad?
I'll even take an Elektra movie at this point. I mean,
yeah, she was great in this too. But
can we do Ryan Reynolds, Elektra, and Blade in the same movie? I mean, get him back as his character. Was he Nightwalker or some shit like that? What was Reynolds' character in Blade? As part of that trio of it was Jessica Biel.
Oh, I don't remember his name. Yeah. I don't remember. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I would rather not have Jessica Biel or Ryan Reynolds in the next Blade movie, to be honest with you. I was fine with that one movie, but I'd rather we just do Blade. I just want another Blade movie.
I agree with you though on your caveat with the girlfriend. I thought she was such a strong part of the first one, and that bond was so fun between the two of them that it really did make you give a shit about the characters. So, and now in the second one, she was sidelined quite a bit, but the whole journey was to get her back from the death. Where this third one, them not being together and estranged at the beginning, I wasn't a fan of that either. I wish that softer touch was there, but then the movie is so fleet-footed and just zooms past that into all these different areas that. I just wonder what the storyboard session was like for plotting this thing out when you're writing it. The brainstorming session. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when they were coming up with this shit, because the fact that it actually works as well as it does, and the deep cuts for the fans, the fact that somebody like my uncle could see it and having really no idea of any other Marvel movie still find this amusing, and that it's not only a superhero movie, it's actually the best raunchy comedy in a long time. It's just hidden in a superhero film. And I think that's also why this is doing the money it's doing.
And the music is great, is it not? Especially, the scene where they're going through the bus, killing everyone. That's to me, I was watching that, I was thinking, this is a music video at this point. I haven't seen a music video this good in forever.
Not even that, even the Green Day over the end credits when they're doing the callbacks to all the, the behind the scenes stuff from the day's shooting worked. I mean, the movie just works.
Yeah.
Now, once again, I think it's a little too long. And even when Reynolds turns to the camera and says, hold on, folks, we're almost there. I was thinking, oh, good, because I thought we were already there. We already got the bad guy. We've already turned her in. What are we doing here? Let's wrap this thing up. But that's just my personal gripe. But too much of a good thing is never a bad thing. And I thought that this movie was funnier than shit. I don't see what the problem is. One of my favorite lines, and I don't know why it struck me so funny, but when he was with the CarMax and he's driving and the lady's asking him, what's the difference between the Kia and the Honda Odyssey? And he says, because the Kia doesn't fucking suck. And I laughed at that point. And then later when he's fighting in the Honda Odyssey and Deadpool just goes, man, the Honda Odyssey fucks hard. I don't know why that's so amusing to me, but those little moments are
No, I know. Yeah, the little callbacks and things. It's really smartly written, and I agree with you. I think the best thing about this still is that anyone can go in blind. You actually don't even have to have seen either of the two Deadpool movies to watch this and have a good time. So I think that was the best thing. That was the best movie they made, period. Second best, obviously, bringing Hugh Jackman back. And yeah, boy, Sean Levy did a really good job directing this.
It's a muscular
surprisingly.
action film. I thought it was going to be, kind of cheap looking. I wasn't expecting this.
Well, I've liked a lot of his other movies, regardless of there being action or family or whatever they are. And he definitely has a very toned down, Chris Columbus style to himself. And I don't know, maybe even, who's the director of Iron Man?
Oh, Favreau.
Favreau. Yeah, a little bit of Favreau for him.
He's got a great cameo in this as well.
Yeah, like a child of Spielberg, which I consider both of those guys kind of that wonderment. They capture that the fun and amazement of movies.
Do you know who he reminds me of in terms of making a solid blockbuster that doesn't feel too cheap but also doesn't feel derivative? Was Stephen Sommers. The guy who used to do The Mummy and things like that. Yeah,
exactly. And like I say, again, like another child of Spielberg, right? Someone who makes very Spielbergian movies, but they're clearly not Spielberg movies. But they capture that kind of heart and fun, of cinema, of going to watch a movie. And it could be a blockbuster. It doesn't have to be some special, I don't know, highfalutin art house film.
I do think this is the high watermark of what is going to be this series. I don't know if they even need a part 4. I'm sure something's coming down the line now, but I can't imagine they're going to do anything better than this.
They're definitely making another one. Come on. It's Disney. They don't have anything else. They don't have anything else.
You're going to have about 5
they might as well
Outs, I'll tell you that.
They might as well do Star Wars Deadpool at this point. just fucking do it. 'Cause you know how that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure that's been on the board at least once. All right, let's talk about The Union, Netflix's big gamble here with Mark Wahlberg and Halle Berry. I don't know why I call it a gamble, because this is about as safe as a bet as you can make. 2 people that are starring in more streaming shit than you ever would want to watch. I mean, both of these people have starred in, I think, 3 or 4 separate projects across the streaming services. And I was a big Wahlberg fan for a long time, and I feel like he's just diluted his quote-unquote brand, releasing this mediocre streaming movie after this streaming. They're all so fucking mediocre. And this is another one that's just part of the forgettable pile. I mean, anything that's not Spencer Confidential that he's released direct to streaming has been shit.
Why is there not a sequel?
Yeah, it's been 5 years. Put your fucking money towards that instead of what they're doing. And I just read he's doing another. I mean, all of these concepts are so familiar. Was there anything in this movie that surprised you? Like from the jump? Why do they hook up so quickly? Never really have any chemistry after that, and like their affair or whatever is totally gone because now he's a spy. And they don't even mention that again until like the 3rd act. So what are we doing here? Was there anything in this movie that caught you by surprise? Any scene?
How poorly it was directed, the whole thing.
I don't even know who directed this fucking thing. I thought the writing,
Juliana Farina.
Is that the guy? Is he direct fucking Entourage episodes? Like, where's his background? Is he a buddy of Wahlberg's?
Oh, Jason. Yes, he did.
I was fucking around. Are you serious?
Yes, he is a TV director, and he has directed Entourage. He has directed a lot of HBO stuff, and I'm just not going to get into it. He's a TV director. And this movie's directed like a TV director would direct a movie, and it's written like shit. And I'm just watching this movie thinking, boy, they have this interesting setup here with this character who is a nobody going nowhere and gets a chance. Kind of, let's say like a Men in Black type movie. Right. Or what was the other one? The Gentleman thing? What was that? Lee. No, yeah.
I can't think of the fucking name of it.
I can't think of it either, but like Channing Tatum was in the sequel thing too, whatever the fuck that was. What's his name? They were in England. I don't know.
21 Jump Street.
Point is,
no. What am I talking about? Oh my god.
No. And anyhow, the whole point is that they take that character and then they immediately switch over to the Halle Berry character and try to give her something to do, and neither of those characters get the respect or the resolve really in the story that they deserve. The setup is just wasted and it's not interesting. This is a character driven movie. If I've ever seen one, and this is a small movie. This is an intimate movie, and it's not shot that way. It's shot like it's a spy action movie, and it's not. That's not the movie that I watched.
Do you know what that calls me up? And I watched this like maybe 6 months ago. Was Bad Company, the Joel Schumacher directed movie with Chris Rock and Anthony Hopkins.
Chris Rock.
That's a small movie that they try to film on a large scale, and it feels so fucking vacant when you're watching it. And you're like,
yeah.
And same thing here. Why all the lavishness put to this? It just, I mean, really. How could they have been inspired? Where's the inspiration on anything from the writing to the shot list?
That's what I'm saying. If I read this script, I would say, okay, this is how I'm going to shoot this. First of all, I'm going to change that opening scene because I don't fucking give a shit about that. That's horrible. But I'm definitely taking this Mike character, and this is an interesting character. And Mark Wahlberg's a good enough actor here to play this in a way where he's going to be like, holy fuck, like my world is just changed. Like everything's different here. And, how interesting is that? How could you shoot that? And this movie's written like that, but it's not shot
Who's
like
the
that.
comedic foil? Who's supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be a funny movie? What is
J.K.
this?
Simmons, right? He's hilarious. Yeah, it's not funny, but I know that's where it has that like Men in Black type feel to it in the other movie.
But it's overly violent as well, so it has tonally, it's all over the fucking place. That opening shootout.
That's what I'm saying,
is way
right?
too violent.
And a lot of it makes no sense. They bring the guy in. They bring in the Mark Wahlberg character, and they go, "Hey, here's all about us. Let us know if you want to join, and we'll just let you go." And then they're surprised when someone blows up their headquarters. Like, this is fucking dumb, and I don't understand the movie. Like they give Wahlberg the money or whatever to go buy the device thing. Remember this scene? And then they come out and they're being shot at, and suddenly everyone around them is on their side, and they pulls out guns from everywhere. And I think, well, if that's true, why did they wait so long to back you up? Why'd you have to say,
why'd you need
back
Wahlberg?
me up? And they're all there. Like how many fucking of these people are there just around you, like as support? It just the whole movie is. It just makes no sense. Like there's no, like as you say, there's no attention to detail in this at all, and I honestly don't think anyone gave a shit about this movie as they were making it. Point here, these characters, Mark Wahlberg and Halle Berry, are too fucking old to be playing
high school
these characters.
lovers,
way too fucking old. Yeah, the college lovers, high school lovers, whatever they were. Mark Wahlberg is too old to be this slacker guy who's just finally getting his life together.
If he was Ted age, I
Too
get it, because
old.
he was on the precipice at that point of being too old to be the slacker ne'er-do-well. And I hate to say it, and Halle Berry looks fantastic, but she's 60 years old.
She looks great.
And she, for them to have been in high school together and had a fling that he's been harboring for the last 45 fucking years. I mean, this is weird.
Too much. I just feel like, I don't understand. They're just too old to be playing these characters. I would have rewritten this movie. I think this could have been a really good movie.
There's no reason that this
was the worst.
With a quick
thing about
rewrite, you could have made these people just ex-lovers in general, who you didn't have to be high school.
Well, he didn't have to be a dropout either. He just had to be someone who wasn't a man, right, in his own world, which is kind of like what it was, right? He wasn't an adult, but you can do that in any way you want, and then give him this opportunity to take control of his life.
Is this not
right?
Central
and
Intelligence with The
it.
Rock
Sounds
and
great.
Kevin Hart mixed up?
Yes, but it's not a comedy, right? This shouldn't have been a comedy. Even though they tried to make it, actually, I don't know what the hell they tried to do, but they did try to make it a comedy at certain points for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't get the movie. I think this is a terrible movie.
Yeah, it's very, very forgettable. A string of forgettable movies now from both of them. It's very disappointing because I used to follow their careers, and pretty much see everything that either of these two did when they were only releasing theatrically. So big disappointment there. Let's move on and talk about the trailers on today's show. And the first one we got is Y2K, the Kyle Mooney directed A24 released horror satire comedy. I'm not really sure what to make of this trailer.
horror comedy.
I like what I've seen so far, but I don't know if this is going to hold my attention past the trailer, because even at the trailer I was starting to get a little irritated at its look at us cuteness, I guess, or look how clever we are. Did it not seem a little pretentious in a way of look how, or I guess pandering, I guess would be a better word?
I don't think so. I didn't get that feeling out of this. I felt like this was a pretty good example of what a late 90s, early 2000s horror comedy movie would be like. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, I don't know. I thought this looks
there were
pretty
moments
good,
that looked like The Faculty, like some Robert Rodriguez type stuff.
The Faculty, Idle Hands. When I think of like the stoner type comedy, and you can even go up to like Superbad if you really wanted to. But it's that kind of 2000s, late 90s. I mean, they're obviously making it look like it's late 90s for obvious reasons, right? But I think the movie in itself kind of felt, I don't know, but it just had that weird A24 stuff.
Well, I mean, I did think that the flying videotape that's killing somebody with it's almost an homage to the Coke machine that's throwing the cans at the kid on the baseball field in Maximum Overdrive. So I think
sure, and it was Varsity
Blues.
Blues.
I like that as well. So there are little nods to this that I think are going to be very, very pleasing to us, and I'm sure on some level that this is going to be good. The tone, they got to get the tone of this right, or this is going to be a long haul when you watch it. For me, at least. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I thought it looked. I thought they did a good job of matching up, and it could be terrible. At this point, you can't really trust trailers because these are all cut by other companies at this point. I don't even know how much input directors or anyone has into trailers anymore. It can't be a lot because their trailers are all shot the same. Or at least I should say cut the same, especially when you add music in like they did here.
Which is a very obvious music choice as well, so wasn't the biggest fan of that music choice. I do want to see this though. I'll give this a shot. Maybe on HBO or on Max when it comes out. I don't think this is a theater one for me.
I don't think I would watch this in a theater, but I would definitely watch this streaming. Like you say, give it a shot. This is, worst comes to worst, it's just going to be forget. Just watch and forget.
Just like The Union. Just forgettable.
Yeah, but The Union, I don't even think this will be as... Actually, I can guarantee you that people give a lot more shit about this movie than The Union, so...
All right, well, next we're going to talk about the trailer for... What is our last... Oh, The Wolves. My goodness, the Brad Pitt, George Clooney film.
That's right, Ocean's 14.
That's kind of what this looks like. And does Tarantino want to check for his concept being used? I mean, what the fuck is going on? Is Harvey Keitel popping up next? Are these basically Mr. Wolf? Isn't that what these guys are from Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
And they're named the Wolves? Yeah. I mean, it seems a little on point there, so it's kind of strange. But the chemistry that these two have and this concept looks like if this movie had been released in 1999, this would have been like a $200 million fucking grosser.
Oh, bro, 2002, 2003?
Why did this not happen beforehand? God. Even so, this looks to me like a crowd pleaser, a little... throwback to what we used to get with two pros that actually like working with each other. And the movie the trailer at least is cut to the style that suggests that we're going to get a throwback with some newer elements in there. So I think this is a nice little trailer. I think it's cut well, and I'm pretty promising looking for this movie.
Yeah, it's a good pairing for the Y2K trailer, I thought, because this definitely feels like a late 90s, early 2000s movie.
And I say that as a good thing as well.
So yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying as well. Yes, good job there. How good this is, I don't know. It's less than 2 hours, so positive there.
I only know it's an hour and 42 minutes because I looked up that screening thing.
That's wonderful.
And I saw that it was the secret screening for $5, and I was like, "What is an hour and 42 minutes coming out?" And like the fucking Wolves is coming out. But this looks like if, on a snowy November weekend, when it's fucking cold outside, you just want to see a movie, that this was totally going to fit the bill. And
Clooney's good for that. He's got his voice is very soothing. So
it's these kind of movies, these adult thrillers, very out of sight. Like you said, Ocean's 11. He does well in these roles, and Pitt is a good comic foil to him. I mean, Clooney has never really been funny, but Pitt actually can hold a line and deliver a line.
How come Brad Pitt's doesn't do his crazy shtick anymore?
I think because he's too old.
Is he too old?
That's what it is. I know what you're talking about.
It would be like Bobcat Goldthwait, like not speaking weird anymore.
Yeah, he's not doing his 12 Monkeys shit.
Yeah, he's not hitting himself on the forehead and shit.
He's not eating in every scene
all the time. He doesn't have weird tics, And
that's always my thing. It's like, man, why is the guy always got fucking food in his mouth in these movies? The guy's fucking constantly munching on something. Can you eat before the scene or after the scene? What the fuck? Get the goddamn dialogue out and go back to eating. Very strange, especially the Ocean's movies. I'm telling you, watch every scene he's eating something. It's very fucking strange.
Yeah, well, so we got good trailers apparently this time.
Yeah, it's because we only had 2.
Well, there's nothing coming out. There's a bunch of teaser trailers, but I don't really want to watch teaser trailers. I'd rather if I'm going to waste my time watching trailers, watch a real, 2.5 minute long trailer and get a feel for if the movie is just too fucking long.
Let me ask you this.
Or not, because that trailer.
Did you watch the trailer for the new Joker trailer?
Not a new one. No.
The actual,
I've seen
the trailer that's out, not the teaser, but the actual trailer that they released a couple weeks back.
I don't know. I don't even know which one I watched. But I guess not. I haven't.
I don't understand what the fuck they're doing here. I don't know what this is going to be.
Well, how is it different?
It's very musical.
Oh, really? I should watch that then. That's interesting. So yeah, that's what they had been saying, but that teaser trailer didn't really show that at all.
It looks different.
I don't understand those Joker movies anyways. I don't understand the first one. I don't get taking a character and then just doing whatever you want to them. Like, it's weird. Like, that's clearly not the Joker from Batman. It's like clearly not. So I don't understand everyone likes.
I mean, it
so
might as well
much.
be Ed Gaines at this point. It's fucking.
It could be anybody. It's just not Joker from Batman. It's just not.
Well, it's also 2 hours and 20 minutes, and if it's a musical, I'm not sitting through 2 hours and 20 minutes
That's
of
a
that.
lot.
So,
But it's Lady Gaga.
well, she can go bye-bye. I'm not fucking watching that shit for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh, sure, but you liked it when she did the song in
Bro,
Top Gun.
I did. I love that fucking song. I came out of the Joker from a packed screening room. I mean, the fucking thing was sold out, and the look on people's faces, and nobody like came out of that going, "What a good movie." It was more like, "Oh my, like what the fuck was."
There's one great scene in that movie, and the rest of it almost makes no sense.
People were depressed
he's
when
literally.
he came out of it.
He's the weakest Joker I've ever seen. He's not only is he not a criminal mastermind, he just doesn't do anything. He's not even interested in doing it. He just doesn't do it. Everybody else does it, right? Everybody else uses him as some symbol to take over and be bad and stuff, and he just goes along with. I mean, he's at their mercy, really. He's not a leader. It makes no sense to me. I don't get it. He's not the Joker.
Well, it was the pedigree of the people behind it. I honestly
it.
think that if Zack Snyder made that exact same film, it wouldn't have been heralded as much as it was. But for some reason, it got.
It was that one scene, man. I mean, it's the television scene, which is
shocking.
really great. I'll give it to him. It's fantastically shot. It's great. But why is that one of the only scenes that when anyone talks about that movie and how great that movie is, that's like the most broken down scene in that whole fucking movie, and the rest of it just nobody talks about.
Well, we'll see how that does when it comes out in October. I'm sure it's going to break all sorts of records and be amongst the year's top grossers, even though it's going to be R-rated, just like Deadpool and Wolverine.
Maybe not. Maybe there'll be a revolt.
I doubt it. I think the response so far. I mean, I have no interest in it, to be honest. I have
Really,
no interest in it.
you think people are liking the trailers?
The response that I've heard from people is intriguing, but that's also people that didn't like Furiosa. So I don't know.
That's not enough.
I'm gonna fucking
I don't. Intriguing isn't enough. I've seen the box office this year. Intriguing ain't enough.
Intriguing ain't enough when you're spending $35 for 2 tickets. I'll tell you that. So. Especially for 2 hours and 20-minute musical. Like I said, I'm not. One of the most uncomfortable things to watch is somebody singing somebody else's face. I swear to God, it's fucking. It's so uncomfortable for me to watch that. I don't know why. It's so uncomfortable though.
Interesting. Yeah. No. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Interesting. No. I don't know. We only have 3 movies this year so far over 300 million, and I don't. I mean, is it likely to stay like that?
Good luck picking your Best Picture nominees. I mean, because we're now going into the August and we have nothing in September.
Before COVID, the year before COVID, we had 9 movies over $300 million. Last year we had 5. This year we have 3.
Yep. And not many are on the docket.
Good luck, guys. That's what I'm saying. Like, whew. And even next year, I don't know what to say.
Well, on that positive note, we'll wrap up.
Make me a Blade movie that's really good. With only Blade, Wesley Snipes Blade. That's all I want.
Give us Blade 4 or just Blade Redux with the
If you make Blade 4 with Wesley Snipes and hell, Guillermo del Toro, please bring back Guillermo. If you do that, I will watch every theatrical release for a year. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out.
That's a big commitment, and then Marvel is counting on your money.
I'll do it. Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for episode 401. As always, we are available on iTunes, Spotify, Shudder, whatever, Stitcher, whatever you're out there. Like, listen, review the show. It always helps the algorithm. We want to thank you guys for your continued support over the years. It means the world to us. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I'm Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to MovieMavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!